Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. I just want to talk real quick about dealing with imposter syndrome and like with your writing because I feel like it goes hand in hand. Like, I swear, probably around the 50% mark, I am convinced that the book is just awful. like, I'm pretty I'm like pretty sure that like it's just so awful and nobody's ever gonna read it, and I'm like tempted to like throw the whole book out, right? But that's not true. And I know that's not true because I can see that people read the book. So I want to talk about dealing with that imposter syndrome. And I feel that as creative people, and it's not that it's limited, right, to just writing. You might have imposter syndrome where it comes to like maybe your day job. Maybe you're not picking up on something as fast as maybe you think you should, right? But we're going to talk about imposter syndrome with writing, because writing is such a personal thing. It's such a thing that it's just you, right? It's just you and your computer, or maybe you're on a typewriter, or you're writing, on like paper with like a pencil. Which, side note, I can't stand the way pencils feel. Like, I can only use mechanical pencils, but that's just me. Anyway, it's such a personal thing because it's just you in your mind and you're creating this, and then you put it out into the world. Or maybe you don't put it out into the world because you are dealing with that imposter syndrome and you're convinced that nobody's going to read it. And I want to say that that's not true. That is not true. There's so many people in the world, right, that have so many different tastes, that have so many different interests. And I genuinely believe that there is a group of readers for every book. I really believe that there are fans for every book. And that's why we have so many different genres. That's why we have so many writers, I think that like the indie self-publishing has really helped to expand that, because there's so many people that can now get their books out that may not have been able to because it's hard to get a publisher just because of how competitive it is, right? But it's not that competitive with like indie publishing as far as getting the book out. It is competitive as far as getting it in front of people, but that's a whole other thing that has nothing to do with the imposter syndrome. To get past that, I need you to take a step back. When you are feeling like this book completely sucks and you want to just throw it all away, and you're just like, I have got to start over, let's not do that, okay? Let's take a break. Not a long break, but let's take a break and let's just take a deep breath and say, you know what? Maybe this first draft feels like it sucks right now. Maybe, I don't like necessarily where the story is going, but I'm going to push through. And I'm going to follow through with this first draft. Okay, I'm going to follow through with this first draft. Even if I'm like rinsing words. I promise. I can spell. But, even if you're just like, I really hate this as you're writing it. Like, it feels like the world is like crashing down because you're just like, ugh, this sucks so bad. I want you to push through that. Don't stop. Just keep going. Maybe you change the plot midway through. That's fine. Let's keep going, because what happens is that after you get that draft done, the beauty is that you can go back and you can edit, right? And then when you go back and you edit, because you've continued to move forward, and you go through these ups and downs, and you're just like, okay, I hate this. Oh wait, I kind of like this. Oh, I hate it. But you keep going until you hit the end button. And then you go back and you edit, and you're like, you know what? That actually isn't as bad as I thought it was, right? And so you have to realize that you are so close to the material that, of course, it feels as though it sucks because you're too close to it. Now, some people would recommend that maybe you set the book down after you finish writing it and then go back and editing it. I personally just go through. Like, I work on a book at a time. we're gonna write this book, we're gonna edit it, and we're gonna get it out. Even if I feel like maybe it's not the best thing, right? Because I realize that I'm too close to the material and that I'm gonna be a lot harsher on it than everybody else because I'm so close. I'm so close that of course I'm going to be a lot harsher. I'm going to critique it a lot harsher. But when you put it out and then you see that people are responding well to it, you realize that I was silly for being so, afraid. I was silly for allowing the imposter syndrome to try to stop me from putting my book out there, from getting my writing out there. So I want you to push through. Even if you are hating it as you are writing, I want you to push through anyway. And then go back over that first draft and see where you are. And then realize that the beauty is that when you are editing, you can always change it, right? You don't have to keep, all the stuff that you wrote in the beginning. But at least you know that you can finish a book. And that helps, with the momentum. And, you can always edit. And then you realize that maybe the stuff that you put in the second half of the book, you actually had like foreshadowing in the first part because you were trusting yourself. So that is my tip. I want you to keep pushing through. Don't let that imposter syndrome win, because there are people out there that want to read your stuff. There are fans for every book, and people need to read it. So, bye-bye.